Hello friends, and welcome to Fishcraft. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you so very much. I've been doing a lot of fishing, and I've been slacking a little bit on the amount of builds that I've been doing because I've been so wrapped up with fishing that I've kind of put building on the back burners. Oh, I got some fish behind me, and in here, and in there, and in there, and in pretty much every other barrel we've got around here. I don't know. I think I've almost completely run out of storage for all the fish that I've caught, which I reckon is a good thing. You know what else is a good thing? The amount of stuff that I have planned. Oh my goodness, have I been busy in my build world, just tinkering away, coming up with stuff that I wanted to do for this world, and I'm really excited to get started. All right, so first things first is I'm going to explain what it is I've got planned. So in my last couple episodes, I've been building up a really small settlement that I've got over just in the water behind me there somewhere. I've been building it up, and I've got a couple ships over there already. I've got a nice wharf. I got all kinds of cats over there. So it is prime real estate for a whole bunch of little buildings and stuff. Now, because I want this to feel like a more medieval, older-ish type of village, I've gone to my creative world and I've created a couple different houses, and I've given each of them a form of variation. Some of them are bigger, some of them are smaller, but they all are relatively in the same style, which is what the goal was. And those buildings, and also the layout of the village, is going to be inspired from one of my favorite games, The Elder Scrolls Morrowind, which I haven't played much of, but I do know I love it, but not as much as fishing. Here it is so far. We've got two of the ships. We have the Sunflower, and we have the Living Desert, and then over here is the future planned area for a dockyard and maybe a dry dock of the sorts, or I'm not really sure. I'm still figuring out what to do with all of this here, but this is just me kind of setting the blueprints and seeing how it goes. I have, however, been very hard at work collecting resources that I needed for this village because unfortunately I did not take it easy on the resource department here. So I got a lot of stuff and a lot of leaves because I'm also building a tree. And while I do already have a lot of resources, I'm still currently missing quite a bit of the oak leaves that I need. So we're gonna go collect some really quick. And at the tippity top of the to-do list is to make a whole bunch of shears, because this is a lot of leaves that I need. I think it's like 2,000 or something, which isn't too bad. I've already got 8 stacks or so. So we've got already 500 leaves. We just need to get the 1,500 more. And when I started this, honestly, I thought collecting the leaves was gonna take forever, but it only took me like, what, 20 minutes to get the rest of the 2,000 that I needed? I should get leaves more often. And with that, we should have one whole sugar box of the oak leaves that we need. So hey, guess what? It's time to get to building, and I think what my plan is going to be is I'm going to build one of them first, just to show you kind of what I've got planned for this, and then after that we'll do the rest. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Oh, I probably should get rid of these. I don't need them anymore. I'm not wasteful. I just don't care enough. Okay. Time to build. Now, the style I was going for this specific building, or this style of buildings, was more of a medieval kind of like rundown. You're by the coast and there's lots of salt in the air, so everything kind of corroded. And I don't know how well I've done that, because I really do like this little building. I just wasn't exactly sure how to implement corroded or like coastal style into this, I guess. So I just tried as best I could to texture it using different blocks and stuff. Like soul soil. I've never used soul soil in a build before. I don't think. I probably have. I just forgot. But here it is. This is one of the smaller shacks of the many that we're going to be building. It's not the smallest, but it's one of the smallest. And I think it looks really good. The roof definitely is a new shape for me. I've never made anything this weird looking. It's very flat, but that also was part of the plan here, because I was building like a in my brain I was going for a more thatch look, and typically those are pretty flat, and I didn't know how to do that exactly, so I just changed it to wood. But I do think it looks okay. I wanted to make sure that the beams that the houses were made out of, they all stuck out the top a little bit to give it that kind of primal, sort of like older style look. I'm not really sure, but this is the style for all of the buildings that we're gonna have over here inside of I just realized I don't know what to call this village that we're making, but the one that it's inspired off of is called Gnaar Mok, which is from Morrowind, by the way, which is why I've been talking about Morrowind so much recently, and I'm quite happy with it. I am also very happy to have a whole bunch of more barrels around here where I'm gonna be able to put my fish when I'm done with this, because I've got a lot of fishing that I have planned for this area over here, and nearly all of the barrels that I've already got they're completely filled up. Oh, and I probably should add more fish stalls as well. I forgot about that. Here's my plan. We've got one building here, which is one of the slightly smaller shacks. We're gonna have a bigger one here, and then we're going to copy these two and then paste them over here at a slightly different angle. And then we'll have some smaller shacks over here. We'll have a couple different shaped ones over here, and then smack dab in the middle of the whole village is going to be a massive oak tree and maybe a tiny cute little statue that you'll have to find out what it is whenever you see it. That may or may not be inspired by a certain dragon from a certain person. Dragon squirrel. Oh, on the topic of dragon squirrel, drink your water, and let's get to building. I actually just had a really good idea. Now, as I'm sure you know, I've been playing Fishcraft, or at least this world specifically, for quite a while now, almost a year, I think. And I've been doing a lot of fishing. Now, that's all well and good because, you know, I love it and I'm very passionate about it, but what maybe are some things that you all would like to see as a video? It could be an entire series idea, it could be a recommendation for a building to build, or maybe a type of theme or style. I'm not really sure. Honestly, I think any input at this point is going to be fantastic because I'm making some changes to my schedule, or whatever that's called. My upload schedule. There we go. I'm going to be trying to upload much more frequently now, so I don't know what that means for my number of fish caught per week. That's definitely gonna be going down probably per video. I can't catch 5,000 in what, 2 days? That's crazy talk. Maybe. Is that crazy talk? Yeah, no, that's crazy talk. Okay, never mind. Anyway, if there's anything you all would like to see in terms of like maybe a series or a type of video, do please let me know, and I will do my very, very best to get it added or recorded, I suppose. And ta-da! I am ashamed to admit how long it's taken me in my creative world to just plot out what it is I wanted to do here. It took significantly less longer in my actual survival world to physically place the blocks and collect them rather than it was for me to build this in creative mode first. I'm tired. Another beautiful sunset. I don't know what it is recently, but I feel like the sunsets and the sunrises, I keep calling it sunsets. I meant sunrises. They feel so much more beautiful. Maybe it's because I have the shaders turned off and it makes everything a bit more clear. I don't know, but I really love it. Again, not as much as fishing, but still. Oh, that reminds me. What do you think this looks like with shaders on? I haven't seen this yet. Uh-oh. Haven't actually seen this with shaders on yet. Let me look. Oh, this looks really good. Oh my goodness. Also, I forgot to mention it, but here it is. Here's the statue that I was talking about earlier. This is a statue called the Scragglet, which is a baby form of a little squirrel dragon that one of my friends called the Scraggin. I felt like it was only fitting to add it here. Oh my goodness, look at this tree. I wonder, can you see the sunlight through the leaves on the bottom? I don't know, the sun's not high enough, but it definitely looks like you can. This is so cool. Here, let's get up the top of the scaffolding. Anything that the light touches is yours. Turns out there's not much of a view from up here. I can just see two little buildings off the side and that's it. Oh well, that's okay. I really am proud of this. Honestly, I've been building this in my creative world for a couple weeks now, and I've been struggling really badly because this is all completely new to me, right? All this style and like big old trees and stuff. This is only my second tree I have ever made. I don't know how to make trees, apparently, but it still was really fun. And I think it was a really good learning experience. Right, well, what is my plan for this little village, other than for it to look really good and for me to do fishing and stuff off of it? I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this as a form of a safe haven, I think, for any of the zombie villagers that I find through the wild and stuff. I'm going to clear them up, and I'm going to bring them over here, and this will be their little fishing houses, right? They're all going to be fishermen. I don't need them to trade nothing for me, but I will set up a perimeter of berry bushes, I think, and like carpets and stuff on the top so that they don't get out and get beat up again by zombies or zombies getting in, etc. I just need to make sure that none of them can spawn inside of here because as it stands, this place is terrible at nighttime. You don't need to be here. Honestly, I feel like lighting this place up should be a top priority considering, you know, most of the time when I'm fishing, I don't care if it's night or day. I just keep fishing. I usually don't sleep through nights, which is weird considering, you know, I'm on what, day 3,683? Oh, yeah. Oh, that's great. That's awesome. Well, you know, I take it back. I did light this place up kind of a little bit. You know, I've got lanterns and I've got tiny little street posts. These are kind of cute, aren't they? They remind me of the lamps from Pixar for some reason. I don't know why. Or maybe Pink Floyd. I don't know. It's one of those. It's either kind of terrifying or kind of cute. Let's figure it out. I don't know. Before I move on, I was wondering, do is there anything that you all would like to see inside of this village over here? Like, in terms of added structures, maybe? Because this is a residential area, so I'm not really sure what else to add here. Thank you for listening. I just realized this villager thing might have to wait a very long time, because I don't actually have any zombie villagers on hand, or know where to get any, except for them to spawn naturally, right? So I guess that's it for this place for now. Moving on. In the future, I would very much like to expand my catfish village. However, I have run into a slight issue, and it's that my main road here kind of has run out of space to go. See, I made a whole wall of buildings here, so I can't turn this road to the left at all without destroying something. I definitely don't want to do that, so I've got a plan. I'm going to be connecting up future expanded catfish with current expanded catfish with the boardwalk here, or the dock, or the wharf, or whatever this is. They're going to be connected up through this. So this little dock that we're standing on has now become, I guess, an attachment of the main road. So I'm thinking that this might be a pretty easy fix, right? You just push the boardwalk around to the grass bit over there, and I think it should be okay to count as the main road. So that's what I'm going to do really quick. Except this time, I don't think I'm going to be using the acacia signs, because these are a pain to make, first off, and I think they cause a bunch of lag, don't they? Do signs cause lag? I really don't know much about this game, do I? This should be relatively easy to replicate, right? So it's just four planks in between each log. So yeah, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So they're just a bunch of little squares that you just gradually turn over, I guess. Just gotta fill this in really quick. I don't even know if this looks good, but I know that I want the dock to be at a slight angle just to give it a little bit of interest. So I expanded the shoreline here, but I don't have much experience with terraforming really, so this is probably as good as it's ever gonna get. I'm gonna say that this is good for right now, because I really just want to go fishing. I've been there's too much building, there's too much tomfoolery and shenanigans. I don't want to. Oh no. Upon further investigation, I think I might have this dock go straight out this direction and then a sharp turn left, I think. So it'll be slightly rounded here, but then straight this direction, because this looks awful. But that's okay. That's a time for another Puddleshine. That being said, we've got some fishing to do. For some reason, only 29 fish in, I already caught a mending book. Alright, time to go to fish again. And that's exactly what I did. It turns out this was, what, 16 hours of footage I had used for the time-lapse? And I did really want to use some, like, crazy cinematic shots, but honestly, I feel like 15 seconds is already too long for just me doing some fishing, so I did end up just sticking to the regular just one clip in a row. I hope that's okay. Now that the fishing stuff is all done and dusted, we're back over in Catfish, because we need to give these allays their names. We also restocked the fish because at some point I guess they accidentally threw up my inventory and I didn't notice. I'm so good at redstone. That was a lie, by the way. The only bit of redstone I'm good at is mining it. Wait a second. I'm completely out of redstone. Never mind. Whatever. All right, so the first name we have is Gem from the Chilling Frog, and this one will go to, I think, the pufferfish. Gemmed. Okay, we got gemmed. Wait, I can't tell. Did I name them Gem? No, I named Pickle! We go again. Can we do it this time? Yeah, there we go. Sorry, Pickle. Moving on, we have Navi, which was actually suggested by 2 people, so that's how you know it's a good name. Thank you, Steam's Creative Journal, and Fallowfoot. I really should play Zelda more often. Then, of course, we have Penelope from Empress Littlebit, which also is the friend that I mentioned, by the way, who made the Scraggin. And then finally, we have Flamenco, which is going to go to this little salmon right here, which is from Prismatic Hue, by the way. Buster Brown Downtown. Thank you so very much for all the names that you all suggest. I really love the diversity that we've got in terms of names. Hopefully, I can get many more in the future. I forgot to tell you how many fish I caught. Oh no. All right, so at the beginning of this video, I was at 195,000, and I'm currently at 198,018. Also, I've just done some calculations, and apparently I've caught a total of at least 128 mending books already, because just in this downstairs section here, I've got over 100, right? I've got 18 little bookshelves here with 6 per bookshelf, and they're all completely filled up. Plus, you know, my 2 or 3 full sets of armor, 2 pairs of elytra, a couple shears, a shield, and oh geez, I don't even know what else. Well, isn't that just information? Thanks for listening. Which does now move us on to the next part of the video. which is the end of it, because I've got some other videos that I've got to get started on making. So I thank you all so very much for watching this episode of Fishcraft. I appreciate every single one of you, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye! Pickle. I love Pickle.